right, here we go again. It looks like the audio is still a little peaking there. I don't know. Nothing I do with the audio setting works. So they may have hacked that to make it peaky. So they'll use the trigger numbers and extortionate type of things. Say you go to Walmart, you get online, and let's say I'm on a dating app. Whatever I was looking at Walmart might be in a profile. Like, the trigger number, I'll go look at it, and it'll be in the profile. Now, sometimes that's Satan stands, because once they do that enough, Satan rewards them with metaphysics like that. They're devils. There's no doubt. No matter who they work for, they're not saving anybody. It's all a scam. So yes, the extortionate number was there, but when I went to the thing, and I tell you the truth, at a certain point, I went to the link on, what do they call that? OnlyFans. And I didn't go in. I just looked. There's nothing there. Now, that person may have been placed on a search because of part of that name is lavender, the screen name. And I just bought, that day I bought lavender candles. Now, that could just be weird. I agree to that, but they may have done that. Trying to create a fancy, this is the person I'm supposed to be with. You don't understand, I'm supposed to be with you. I bought lavender candles and you're lavender. So I would go to like a dating app, and then they would, like, the more and more they got involved. And again, they like to do that, like increase their presence and then blot everybody else out. Like, aha, now look. Right. Oh, they're psychos, man. They're not controlling anything. They're the narcos. Bad Bunny's the narco. They're the narcos. They're cops in Aurora, Colorado. They know what they're doing. They are not investigating. They were taught to be extortionists and murderers. And they're in law enforcement all across the country. But it's not just blanket ICE. Actually, it's the cops that are anti-ICE because they're working for the narcos. And then you have to be careful of the ones that won't help you, because they'll talk shit about me as I help you, that I'm only grooming you. I mean, if you look into history, I was supposedly a heroin smuggler, a heroin dealer, a heroin mule, a bomber, a Ted Bundy, an Uncle Eddie. None of the above I'm none of the above. Remember Uncle Eddie? That's why, I hold Uncle Eddie up to Epstein, about the same. That was a big one in Philly when they discovered Uncle Eddie. So the guy that I'm speaking about was like an Uncle Eddie, but he wasn't different. He would hold parties and then, pull one off here or there. And then apparently at one point I realized he had like this bevy of guys. He would drug people. That's how he used roofie, one of the early roofiers. And he actually had like 4 or 5 that he, I guess, had groomed over the years. And then, I don't know, it was a big party. It must have been like a Christmas party or something. And the place was packed. It wasn't a big place, but it was packed. And he said something about me going to the back. And he said, said something about a couple of guys doing something. And I'm like, no. But he would have like a show in the back or something like that. So again, I firsthand know what's going on. And then in law enforcement, I know what's going on. So this Epstein, again, there may be evidence that we don't have, but going after Lutnick for a lunch just because there was a low-level charge by a billionaire. I mean, I know personally, I will tell you, and not personally, but why was Fergie like that around him? Is there something wrong with Fergie? Fergie wanted money. He was a rich man. What they're not telling you is they do the same thing with rich people all over the place, including Ed Buck. And the Ed Bucks in California today. And the Epsteins in California today. And the Epsteins in New Mexico. And the Ed Bucks in New Mexico. So again, it's a big scam that they're into. So that was, it wasn't just a trigger number. It was a fact that the name contained lavender the day I bought lavender candles. But that's like, if you see me go different places on apps that don't make sense, that's generally what's happening. Like I said, I might investigate it, I might not. I used to help them with a lot of different investigations, and I just won't do it because it's a setup. Well, with this ICE thing, they can't. They try. They're like, oh, he just made, he didn't get Latino, you know, I guess the slang word for sex, you know, that kind of thing, but on a woman's genitalia. But again, they did. That's the point. You see how they flipped the script? Well, that's what they would get off on that. I actually received something this morning and said there was actually some guys that were interested in you, and the same thing happened to them. The gay cops or the gay PIs had sex, or the bi had sex with them. So it is definitely a part of their cult. And it's not just New Mexico; it's global probably at this point. And the narcos are pushing it, and the Russians are pushing it. The Russians push it because they can use it against people. And the narcos do kind of the same thing, but then they have this kind of like witchcraft thing going, Satanist thing, where they have sex with the person you're trying to have sex with, or not trying to have sex, they're trying to have a relationship with. That's the difference. No, I will not have sex with somebody just for the sake of having sex. Right. But that's what they do. But actually, theirs is worse. It's not even just for the sake of having sex. It's that satanic. Right. And that's part of that bitch thing. It's all related. Right. They should have stopped them years ago. I told you in 2021 about Aurora. They were corrupt. I single-handedly, it's all my, somewhere on my stuff. I single-handedly fought them. I believe the agents were part of it in Colorado also. That doesn't make it something different. They obviously support anti-ICE, and it's not, oh, I love the immigrant community. They're such hard workers for us. It's the narcos that are paying, the sex traffickers that are paying. They took a walk to the dark side, so again, they support the dark side. And of course, they say, well, they got money, you don't got money, but you're the reason. That's it. There's no other reason. People would have been sending me money. And again, somebody said that somewhere along the way, somebody tried to pay me, somebody intercepted it. What are they going to say? It was like, you know, a secret deal. Well, if they say something, then they get hit. And what you all don't realize that it was about me. And there may be people that hit the earth the same time as me. I don't know. But if you see how things change back and forth, it was designed to take out my life. And after my life, it'll probably change a little bit. I don't believe they're going to win. The narcos can't win. I'll just say it. Trump's got 3 more years. If it's Vance, it'll do the same thing. As far as Drudge Report reporting that Trump's down, maybe he is, maybe he isn't, but I remember him saying that for the final 6 months of the election. Especially when Harris got involved. Obviously, it was a lie. And I mean, if you're a Democrat, and you have like any intelligence left, you got to be going, how do we know what the hell's going on? They lie every day. I mean, Trump lies a little bit, but I mean, they're over. I mean, cutting these videos short and shit like that. I mean, that's chicken shit. Not showing the full picture. But again, that's what they did to me. That's what was in those files, if they have files still. They may have hid some of it. And they're just like obsessed with it. Bavino. Bavino's not. See what happens when you took Bavino out of it? It messes him up. Oh, Bavino this, Bavino. Who cares? He's not even involved. And the whole idea is that when Bavino started that whole thing, ICE had what, half the employees or less? They don't need him. He's still a chief somewhere. A commander, I could be less than a chief and be a commander. In fact, when you see those, most likely, when you see the special operations teams out there, there's a commander. That's all that means. But it could be like just an average supervisor, not a chief. So being a chief is actually bigger than being a commander. You could actually even have people of equal rank, just basic, people in a special operations group team, but there's one person that's the commander. That's just the term they use for special operations groups. Generally, if you're an official commander, you're probably like a chief, but you don't have to be. You could be like an acting chief. So something said Bad Bunny's like a Diddy, but he's in with the coke and the narcos. So again, what you have to understand is what we saw at the NFL halftime show was Latino supremacy. That's what that was. They did it as quietly as they could, but it's obviously Latino supremacy. And again, I don't know what he was trying to do, but he probably motivated Trump 10 times as hard. Again, Latino supremacy is actually everywhere, and they bought it using narcotics money and sex trafficking money. I mean, look at that. Those bails right there. Was it 5 million wholesale that the Coast Guard pulled up that I put on my page? 5 million. Just beep. But it's all the misery, death, rape, and murder of other people involved in that. Like I told you, it's like the Me Too crowd. They're all full of shit. They got guys that are the bosses that are really the Me Too offenders. They don't give a shit. But like they'll say, "Oh, that person over there is the Me Too person." Some average Joe. It's all bullshit and a scam. It's Epstein. Latnick went to his lunch with a billionaire with his family. I don't really, knowing the time period and what little charge Epstein had at the time, it's nothing. And again, aren't they the ones, the Democrats, that tell you, they were a felon, but we're going to put him on the police oversight board because he's done his time. Aren't they the ones that say that? See? Nothing but a bunch of fraudsters. Trying to empower they're trying to ride the next 3 years so that it can reinstitute narcotics and sex trafficking of supremacy in the United States. Bunch of money grubbing devils. Everything they say is bullshit. But we'll be back in a second with our prayers.